Welcome to Raunchy Power Hour, a book club for discussing romance, from the erotic to the erroneous. As always, this is an explicit podcast and contains strong language, adult themes, and sexual content. If you are sensitive to these things, we urge you calmly, but sincerely, to turn off your radio now. This month, we are reading The Ex Hex by Erin Sterling. This is part 2 of The Ex Hex. This podcast will contain spoilers throughout the entire book. If you want to read along with us, stop listening now. It's okay. We'll wait for you to come back. This book contains no content warnings. You have been warned.
I'm your producer, Ashlyn.
I'm one of your hosts, Sydney.
I'm your spooky ooky ghoul from the basement, Christina. Now, get ready to get raunchy.
Hello again, Christina.
Yay, thanks for having me back.
So glad you could be back. So Lauren is still in the basement, guys. Sorry to tell you.
If you hear her knocking, just ignore it.
Just ignore it. Just ignore that. She is still in the basement. She has to still be in timeout. Anyway, Christina, I have a question for you.
Oh, what's that, Sydney?
Thinking about how Halloween costumes keep getting sexier and sexier with things that aren't meant to be sexy. If you were to go as something which you don't think is sexy, but make it sexy, what would you be and why?
Oh my god. Okay, I could think about this or I could just go off of what my brain jumped to.
Go.
My brain jumped to plumber. But could that be like your traditional plumber with the crack? Or would you make it a couple's costume? Someone is the plumber, someone's the plunger.
Oh.
Or could it just be like Mario and Luigi?
Yeah, but there's already sexy Mario and Luigi.
Yeah. What about that sexy?
I think it would be like a thong. I think it would be like a pair of underwear. It's like a corseted, like meant to look like a jumpsuit, and then but the pants are like really really tight, but they hang obviously very low, like on
that
purpose.
2000 style.
Yes, very 2000 style.
Like channel like a Christina Aguilera kind of look, maybe.
Very much, and it's like. I don't know, it's something plumbing, and it's let me clean out your drains. I don't know.
Let me plunge your drain.
Oh, I hate it. Oh.
Let me plunge your throne or something.
I hate it so much. I'm looking up sexy plumber costume to see if it's already happened.
I wouldn't put it past the internet, but
I wouldn't either, but I'm going to check. Okay, sexy plumber costume.
Electrician.
Oh, that would be fun.
That spark in your romance.
Okay, it's all just like Mario. So
yeah. Okay.
I'm not seeing an actual plumber. Oh wait, no, I found one.
Oh no.
It's from Fashion Nova.
Oh.
Of course it is. Okay.
What would you be?
What would I be if I wanted to be a sexy something? I'm trying to think of like something funny. Like, I think a historical figure that's sexy would be really funny.
Oh, there's quite a few out there, I feel like.
There's a couple I feel like could be funny.
Rasputin?
No. he was already sexy in his time.
He's got those eyes. The love machine.
The love. I'm not going to sing the song.
Don't demonetize us. Not that we're monetized.
Don't. No, we're not even monetized in the first place. I'm trying to think of the most sexless historical figure.
Joan of Arc.
No, there's already so many
sexy.
sexy Joan of Arcs.
Oh.
You know there's going to be so many with Chappell Roan dressing up as her during MTV.
Oh, that's true. I forgot. Guys, I'm sometimes in the basement, I forget about current events.
You forget about current events.
I'm going to suggest sexy Socrates.
Oh.
Mm.
I'll say just like a bearded man and like a really short toga being like, hey, let me shake my ass and also share my philosophy with you.
Along with the sexy Julius Caesar who has like all of these knives in the back.
Yes.
I feel like there could be like a theme here.
He is certainly a dictator. I'm moving on.
So bad. That's so bad.
I'm
You have to
moving
move on.
It's so bad. We have to move on. It's so bad. Anyway, guys, we're reading book 2 of the Ex Hex.
Were we?
I think so. We were supposed to, at least.
I think so.
So this is from chapter 18 all the way to the end, and we're obviously going to be talking about the rest of the book. So you had the warning beforehand. If you're here now and you haven't listened to the first part, don't know what you're doing here. Anyway, usually Christina, Lauren does a quick like 1 minute rundown of like the first half of the book, like super fast summarizes it. Would you like to do that?
I can try.
Her goal is always less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Okay.
Okay, let me set my timer.
I'll get it for you. I got you.
You got me.
I got you. Okay.
I'm ready.
1 minute is on the clock.
All right. We're following Vivian Jones, Reese Penhollow, Gwyn Jones, a little bit of a Sir Percival, and Elaine Jones, all in the town of Penhollow. Nope. Yes?
Nope.
Nope.
Graves
I already
Glen.
forgot the town. Graves Glen. We're all following the town of Graves Glen, where Vivian and Gwyn accidentally curse Reese when she's 19 years old. Fast forward, and now we're in the future, and he's still cursed. He's back to fix the ley lines. But did he? No, he accidentally cursed them. He got rid of the curse on him, though. Oops. That's still in 30 seconds.
There's still more. We got more. There's a ghost. They're all witches.
There's more. There's a ghost. They're all witches. There's a ghost. There's a university. I'm not doing very good on this.
There's so much making out.
In the library.
Intention.
Ruined by the ghost. Oopsies. Also, there were devil skulls that were plastic and ate some random strangers.
That's it. Random strangers. They just
Magic's a little wonky.
Magic's weird. All right. Honestly, that was not a half bad movie. This book.
Honestly, most of the book happens here in the second half.
True. This is like a lot of lore dump happens in the second half. You are not incorrect there. But with that, we will jump into the second half of our review of Ex Hex by Aaron Sterling. So Reese and Vivi are out for a cuppa because Reese is exhausted from the days he's had, and he's like, I need coffee. I am tired. Well, tea, actually. So they go to a little magic coffee shop, and they are hanging out in there, and Reese is like, well, isn't this coffee shop's magic, right? Like, this is run by witches, and Viv's like, yeah, and they're like, oh, shit. Magic's gonna go weird, isn't it? And it does. Because instantly, as they said that, a man suddenly topples over and appears to be... He's not turned to stone. He's just very rigid. And it's because one of the baristas behind the counter has been selling people potions, like magic potions. And this man specifically asked for a hardening spell, but it wasn't meant to be around his whole body. It's meant to be in one certain area. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. Anyway, so the barista like talks to Vivi and Reese and is like, It never does that. It's only meant to go to, It's not meant to do like a whole thing. Like, it's really weird. But like, I don't think my spell is the thing that messed it up. I feel like magic is weird. And Vivi and Reese are like, that's so weird.
She also specifically says it's a bespoke spell. You wouldn't know it. So Reese is like, hipster magic? And I'm like, honestly, that's pretty good that the young hipster, like, witches are kind of, like, going off on their own. And they're like, well...
I don't know. I'm trying something new. Leave me alone, you old man.
Are you the magic police or something? I think someone mentioned that.
I did
someone
love
mentioned
that.
magic police.
I did. That was the barista. The barista was like, are you the magic police? It's like, I love her. I love her. So the next day, Vivi is back at her office when she gets a knock on her door, and she introduces someone named Amanda. And Amanda says that she is from the witchery side of the university, and she's here to give something to Vivi to use because she needs to capture the ghost of Piper McBride. If you guys remember from last time, Piper McBride is a witchy ghost, and she haunts the library, and her spirit had to be bound to it because for reasons that we will discuss. And so Amanda gives her this, gives her an object to go catch Piper. Anyway, she calls up Reese, and she's like, hey, Reese, I need you to come with me to do this thing. And Reese doesn't know exactly, but he already agrees because he has the hots for Vivian. So he's like,
whatever.
Yeah, he goes, I don't care what you do, hot lady. I will be there. And they go to like this creepy cabin in the woods. And it turns out that was Piper's old house. And the reason they have to go there is because they have to find her altar to capture her spirit in what is called a Eurydice candle. Actually, I meant to look this up while
cleverly
I was reading,
named.
Yeah, I wanted to look it up and see if a Eurydice candle is an actual thing.
Because Eurydice is the one that someone's trying to bring back from the dead, right? Greek mythology.
Yes, that's the tale of
Eurydice is Eurydice candle. No, that is specific to the Ex Hex. In fact, it is the second thing that pulls up when you look up Eurydice candle.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, apparently when you light it, it's super magical. It's meant to pull in a spirit into the candle, and then you can like release it. It's a catch and release. It's kind of like
perfect for the haunted house.
I know, exactly. So they go into the haunted house, and they're kind of looking around, and as they're looking in there, they start hearing voices outside, and Vivi's like, oh shit, I recognize that voice because it's the voice of one of her students. And assuming his girlfriend or like his fuck buddy, who cares? And she's like, we have to hide. So Reese and Vivi go hide in a closet, and they're like squished together. And it turns out, hey guys, I know, so convenient, but this is the sex cabin, guys. This is the creepy sex cabin, which, you know, every college has them.
Every college has them, and the fact that she didn't know about it, though, is really funny to me.
She's like looking at me like, do they?
Hey, so we all went to the same college, and I'm horrified now. What did I not know? Oh my god!
You didn't know about the creepy sex cabin?
That was haunted.
No, but I know about the room in the library. What's happening?
No, okay, but
that's kind of it.
That's it. There's always a room in the library. So the fact that they didn't find the spot in the library meant obviously at this college, it's the haunted house.
It's obviously the haunted house. That's where you go bang.
That
obviously.
The
floor's clean. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, the floor's at least clean. Also on top of this, forgot to mention this. The reason that magic will actually work in this part of the cabin, though, because as we mentioned, the magic in the town is wacky. The cabin's outside of town boundaries, so magic is normal again out here.
Wait, now that I'm thinking about magic being normal outside, so Reese was cursed, but it didn't technically hit until he hit the town. So was his like Atlanta driving just that bad?
I think his Atlanta driving just was that bad. I don't think it was magically bad. I think that's just Atlanta traffic.
That's so great. Good job, Aaron Sterling. I love that.
Honestly, great job. Because every time I drive through Atlanta traffic, I do feel like I was cursed.
I'm like, if you want to chat about how bad Atlanta traffic is, hit us up. Not on this podcast, but another time.
Yeah, at another time. Actually, we changed our name to Atlanta Traffic Bitching instead of Raunchy Power Hour.
For real.
Oh my god. And it's just horror stories of driving through Atlanta. Oh my god. So, yeah. I just love that you pointed that out. That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I think it's just that bad. Which, like, me too, Reese. I too hate Atlanta.
I hate it so bad. Anyway, they're in the closet and they're like really, really close, like so close, and they're like touching, and it's like, oh, well, there's no one else to go. Anyway, Vivian's student tries to get it on with his gal pal, and Vivi's like, well, we have to get them out of here so we can continue looking for this altar. So they basically do thaumaturgy from D&D and like create a sound far away, and that spooks the students away. And as that happens, Vivi is about to kiss Reese again because they're in close proximity. When these two get too close to each other, they just start fucking. Hey, they just start fucking. When they're in close proximity, they start having sex because they're just like, I'm just so hot for you. Anyway.
It's like they conveniently were in like a sex cave, and then now they're in like a sex haunted house.
A sexy haunted house. But as they do that, she like puts her hand on the wall and it like stings her, and she's like, ow, that hurts. That's Piper's altar. So as Reese says, he says Piper was on his hit list because she cock-blocked him. And I was like, okay, that was funny. That was really funny. It was so silly. I was like, damn, if I had beef with a literal ghost because they cock-blocked me.
And the fact that ghosts are rare. So it's like the one time you're seeing a ghost.
It's so rare. Yeah. So they light the Eurydice candle, and Piper appears, and she again says like the cursed pen hollow, and Vivi's like, yeah, but I cursed him, but the ghost says no. She goes, yes, you cursed him, but that's not what I meant. And they're like, what? What do you mean? But then she goes into the candle.
Yeah, well, she does drop, she says, what was wrong must be righted. What was taken must be relinquished. Very dramatic. Ooh. And then she disappears, which is kind of wild. At this point, I thought there was going to be something with that pendant. I was like, that was stolen.
Yeah, or like maybe holds like, no, it's just hot. That's all. It's just hot.
That's it.
That's hot. It's okay. Sometimes you just need a guy wearing a dark purple pendant that just turns you on, you know? Maybe that's all we all need in life. Anyway, so the candle is lit, and she goes into the candle, and Reese and Vivian then go back to Something Wicked to drop off the candle, which is also where Vivi lives. Vivi's apartment is above Something Wicked, but they specifically want to drop it off in the supply closet because she doesn't want it like the candle in her home because it's like really cold and like emitting this like purple light. And she's like, yeah, no, don't want that in my apartment. Bad vibes all around. So she puts it down. And then immediately gets hot and heavy with Reese. And we get our first intimacy scene.
That like isn't interrupted.
No, that is not interrupted by a ghost. Yeah, he did get cock-blocked twice. No, 3 times by a ghost. No, twice. Library in the house. Too many times. But yeah, we have our first sex scene, and it was nice. I don't know what else to say about it. Christina.
It was cute that it was I would say it's cute, but also I was like, this is your place of work. like your family's
and
place
also
of
her
work.
aunt's store. Yeah.
Aunt's store. He does call her Cariad, which is super cute. I will say that was really cute, and I only know about it because of the infernal devices, but like that's a term of endearment. Here.
And also he like that used to be his pet name for her, but when they were dating as well. And it's like, okay. That's
it's
cute.
Like things are getting
and
cute.
Also, guys, the fact that he goes down on her. It's like, oh, breath of fresh air. A man who cares about a woman's pleasure.
And clearly the curse is gone.
Yeah, clearly. Because let's just say Vivian has a great time.
And I think this is like what the turning point of their relationship, right? Like kind of after this, it's a little more casual.
Yeah, they start like some of that tension has bled away just because of that fact of like the will they won't they, because they will.
They will. They will. They have been, and they're doing it in the ant store.
And they will continue to. Yeah. So the next day, Vivian talks with her aunt and Gwen about like the candle, and both of them are like kind of shocked that she just like was given this like very powerful witchy object. Amanda comes to pick it up and she takes it away, and Vivian then goes to her classes and everything's fine until she gets called into the dean's office again because Amanda isn't who she said she was, this is such a random like B plot line. I was like, okay, this is odd.
I was living for it because
you were like, living for it.
All the other witchy people like had broomsticks up their butt, but she didn't, and I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And then it's like, actually, no,
actually not.
No, she's not involved.
Yeah, so we find out that the broom witch butt up their butts. Those witches typically are like very uppity, like they're very classic witch is the best term I can really say. But traditional. But Amanda was like, the big thing is that Vivian notices that she wears jeans, and that was like a big thing is that she wasn't traditional and she was wearing jeans and not like robes or a dress or something. Anyway, turns out Amanda, not even a witch. She is a reseller of witchy objects, and her real name is Tamsin. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Tamyson or Tamysn.
Tamsin.
Tamsin. Oh, I did say it right the first time. I just wrote it down wrong. My bad, guys. Yeah, so she buys and sells objects, witchy objects, and then resells them. And the college had known that she was trying to poke around. The thing that bothered me was like, but then how did she know that Vivian spoke to the dean and the dean told her to catch the ghost? That was my one little plot hole thing. I was like, how did she know that, you know?
I want more about her because she knows so much about the witch world.
Yeah, like how did she fall in? Like how did she learn about it? How does she like do all this stuff? Yada yada. Okay, fair enough. I would be interested to see what Tamsin does.
I think she's an introduction. Yeah.
So Vivian, being really upset, goes to Reese's house because she wants to vent about the whole Amanda Tamsin thing and be like, yeah, and also tell Reese, be like, we can't do that again. We can't have sex again like that. Like it felt really good, but like we shouldn't. And Reese is like, we shouldn't, definitely not. And she went, yep. And then guys, guess what? They had sex again. And it was again. They lied to everyone, and I'm okay that they lied because it was a very nice scene. I really don't know what else to say about it. I just called it the gothic bedroom sex scene.
No, because the whole time they were describing the house, and I kind of was thinking like Simon Reese's dad, he was kind of giving Vlad from The Sims vibes.
100%.
And this was kind of the house build.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, they literally have sex in a canopy bed with satin black sheet. No, the sheets were satin black, but the duvet was velvet red. God damn. And I do love Vivian being like, she's like, you slept in this? You slept in this growing up? And he goes, yep.
Which, such a good question to ask, because that's insane.
It's insane. It is so insane. But hey, they have good sex. So what more can you say?
Gotta stick with the aesthetic.
Gotta stick with the aesthetic. And then we get a little scene of them afterwards, like they're in the Clawtub bathtub, and I love that Vivian's like, this is the only place that this actually makes sense in this whole house.
Which, like, a clawfoot bathtub, cool. That's a cool feature in a house.
Love it. That does make sense in that type of house. But they're just really cute together in this scene. Like their relationship is budding into something, and they obviously have feelings for each other, but they're both stupid idiots. It's
disgustingly cute. Like there were multiple times when I was reading this, I was like, no. Make them stop being cute.
But then at the same time, you're like, yes.
You continue to call her Carrie Ann.
Do I? Yeah, you keep doing it, babes. You keep doing it. You also keep giving her pleasure. Keep doing it before she gives you yours. Can you tell that I've read so many romance books in which that is not the case, and it hurts. It's painful to read sometimes.
We love a female author.
We truly do. Jump to a week where nothing productive has happened because Reese and Vivi keep boning. They keep having sex and they can't look stuff up. Which I love. I love it for them. I'm like, you know what? Have sex. Do fun. My favorite thing is when she mentioned, and she goes, oh, and the one memorable time we did it on the stairs. And I was like, what? I want that scene. Because I just don't know how it would work.
The fact that it was only like a quick little mention was very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like somewhere in the drafts, Aaron Sterling has that scene, and I'm like, give it to me. Give it. Give me.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, I'm about to say it got cut, and it's somewhere in the void, but I want it. Anyway, and they are now going to a little carnival, and it's a little fall carnival. It's right before Halloween, and they're going because something wicked is, selling their wares, selling their things. And before they go, of course, we get another sex scene because Reese is like, God damn, this woman is fine. I must pleasure her. So they end up being late to the carnival. Gwen is like a little bit silly and like teasing them for being late. And they're just very cute again because during this time, Reese decides to bring Vivi over these like little handheld apple caramel pies, which she like jokes are like the best thing ever. And it definitely aren't magical. And Reese jokes that he goes, yeah, I'm going to leave you to go marry Mrs. whatever her name was who made the apple caramel pie things. And what I thought was so cute is the fact he said like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to leave you to go like be with her instead, but they hadn't like said like what they were yet, and I was like, I don't know why. That's kind of cute.
It was cute. I love a good baked good as a gift.
I know. And the fact it's like something she mentioned that she loved, and he was like, yeah, let me go get that for you. So as they're there, they're like having fun. It's cute and fall and fun, Gilmore Girls. When suddenly witch shit happens and his dad appears. Yay! The ultimate bummer to the party. Because earlier in the book, when Reese first found out he was cursed, he called up his older brother Wells to tell him what was going on. And Wells was like, you should call Dad. And Reese being Rhys Daddy Issues Pen Hollow decided not to do that. And Simon has shown up to basically talk to Rhys about like the whole curse thing and the ley lines and like kind of confront Vivi and her family. So we jump back to Aunt Elaine's house and they're all in the cozy kitchen and Simon is being he's just being a dick. I mean, he's just an all-around dick.
He was so cold. He didn't need to be that cold.
He didn't need to be that cold. And like he was being protective, but in the way of like, I'm not protective of my son. I'm more protective of the name, you know? And the fact that these little witches cursed him.
They're for the wrong reason.
Yeah, they're 100% for the wrong reason. And my favorite moment in this whole little thing is Vivi, like, honestly, she had balls. She went, we may be little, like, witches who own, like, a little witch shop who, like, do all this stuff, but we're still the ones who cursed your son. And I was like, God damn.
Which, I mean, he said that curses couldn't happen to the family.
And Vivi's like, yeah, but I did that. So shut the fuck up.
Honestly, I gotta say, Vivi, not a terrible main character. I was clapping for her a bunch. She had some good moments.
I was too. I was like, you go, Vivi. I appreciate you. Anyway, so Simon is like, so I need to do more research on how to lift this. And basically, he doesn't ask Rhys. He tells Rhys to come home with him to Wales. I got confused. I thought Simon was meant home as in, you know, the estate that is right up the road, but no, he meant home as in Wales. And Rhys is like, no, I want to see this through. I want to figure this out. And his dad's like, fine. But the reason Rhys assumes that he wanted them there was more because he wanted to research it, not because he cared for her son. And I was like, oh, twist the knife. No wonder he's got daddy issues.
He's right for that.
Yeah, honestly. So Vivian takes him, like, walks him back to the manor and everything. And then, guess what? They have sex again. Guys, from this point on, they're banging. Like, we don't get a lot of, like, more sex scenes. It's more, like, fade to black or, like, mentions that they did it. Which, honestly, kind of liked, just because if we had added more sex scenes, I would have been like, this is too much for my cute little...
Yeah, the book's not that long.
No. And for a cute little, like, lighthearted, fluffy witch book, I don't want that. Like, I want some spice, obviously, but not, like... I don't need the whole bottle, you know?
Yeah, I'm good with some fade to black. It kept the story moving, too.
Yeah, it did. But it's definitely, like, showing, like, well, they're getting really close. In a physical way.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, guys. I actually did want to ask you, Christina, this is your first time talking about smutty stuff on the internet.
Is it?
Is it? I mean, I guess a question for you is like, how do you feel? How are you feeling?
Fine. It's fine. It was more fluffy than smutty.
Okay, good. And I'll say the first time that I tried to talk about this stuff, which was in the very first episode with Ice Planet Barbarians, I was scared of saying the word like dick and penis on the internet. Now I have no fear. I've said cunt multiple times.
Oh my gosh, look at you go.
I know, this is character development. This is what happens when you've been doing this for too long. Anyway, next morning, Vivi wakes up and Rhys has basically gotten them ready to go. And he's like, okay, hop in the car. We're going someplace. And she's like, okay. And they do feel kind of bad that they wasted like a whole week just banging instead of doing research. So Rhys has found the location of Tamsin and they are going to go basically get the Eurydice candle back from her. And the way he found it is that he called his older brother who spilled to dad and he like did a tracking spell, yada, yada, yada. And they find this B&B about an hour away in another little place in Georgia. And when they get there, they're asking the front desk. They're like talking to them. When suddenly Tamsin kind of like appears and she goes, "Oh, you're here. Yeah, come in." Which I thought was a little weird until we get the whole thing of the candle, basically, guys, is fucked. It's emitting like this really ghost. Oh, she's a strong special ghost. But the ghost is like causing like purple light and like an obvious haunting, and it's like really cold. And Tamsin's like, "Fuck this. Get this out of here. Like, I don't want it. Like, this is like waste. Like, this is much more than I signed myself up for." And Reese and Vivian are like, "Yeah, but you do this for a living." She goes, "Yeah, but no one's gotten hurt." And Reese is like, "Yet. Like, stop doing it." And Tamsin's like, "I don't know. I might keep doing it."
She really gave a non-answer there.
Yeah, she truly was like, "I don't know if I've learned my lesson."
Which, honestly, though, this scene was a little odd because the whole scene was them to show up at this inn, very Gilmore Girls. And it was like, oh, it's cutesy, a new location. But all they did was, like, go tell her and be like, "Don't do that again." And she was like, "No." Like, that's it. What did you think of that scene? Did it have a purpose?
I mean, it had the purpose of getting the candle back. I didn't love it, though. I thought it was a little strange, too. It was a little odd of a beat point. I would have loved if, like, Tamsin actually, like, reappeared at Vivian's office, because she obviously doesn't know where she lives or something, and it's just like, take it back.
Yeah, because if you're going to introduce a cute little inn, we need more of it. Like, because it was just that
cute little inn. Yeah, I think I would have liked that a little better. But that's really my only gripe with this whole little section, honestly.
Yeah.
I just love this. For the next chapter, I literally, guys, I just wrote down lore drop. Because a lot of shit happens. Guys, we go from 0 to like 180 from this point. We are still in our cutesy little Halloween witch book, but we get a lot of shit done within these last couple chapters.
And it's not that many pages. It's like maybe 30, 40 pages.
It truly, we are going from 0 to 60. It's time to go. Buckle in, hold my hand, let's go. Do not put your hands or limbs outside of the cart at any time. So they wait until nightfall. I love that Vivian's like, "I think Anne Elaine, honestly, we did it at night just for the aesthetic reason, not because of the moon thing, like Elaine is saying." I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
She's such a good character. Again, please bring her back. We need
bring her back. Give her the prequel that she deserves. Anyway, they do like a assault circle to make sure that Piper doesn't leave, and so they light the candle. Piper reappears, and it turns out what Piper was doing that caused her to die was that she had done research into the town of Penhollow, and she discovered
the town is Glen.
Grave Glen? Sorry, I did it too. Look what you done.
Glen, yeah.
Look what you did.
I'm sorry.
I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you.
You both want to say Stars Hollow so bad.
We do. So badly.
It's so hard.
Anyway, it's hard. Guys, it's so hard doing this podcast. It's so hard when we want to be aesthetic and say things from Gilmore Girls. Anyway, she was doing research into the town of Graves Glen, and as she was doing research, there was talk about it, but there wasn't a ton in research. But there was talk that Griffith Penhollow, Reese's great-great-great-great-granddaddy, the one whose statue had nearly killed him, was not the only person who laid the ley lines down, and that he needed help from another witch. And that witch is none other than Elaine. Alwyn. Sorry, that's how we say it. We looked it up before this. So Alwyn is the ancestor of the Jones family, which we've been talking about this whole time, which is Elaine, Gwen, and Vivian. And they've brought her up a couple times, but they just mentioned that she was like a witch, but she wasn't super powerful, but she just died of like the flu or pox or whatever. Like she died of something that would have killed many people in the old times. But Piper says that that the reason she died was because Grefford, that guy, he drained Alwyn's magic and life force into the ley lines, which caused her to die of influenza. Because she just like wasn't powerful and like wasn't able to fight it off.
No, I don't think she died of influenza. I think he blamed it on influenza.
I think, oh yeah, you're right. He blamed it on influenza. Sorry.
He covered it up. It was a cover up. It
was a cover up. And then he basically like hid that she even existed and like that she was a powerful witch and so on and so forth. And he took all the credit, as men do for women's accomplishments. Whoops. Did I let that slip out? Didn't mean to. Sorry. Anyway. So the curse that Piper was alluding to was actually a curse placed by Alwyn on Grefford, basically saying that one of his ancestors who like would go there would die for recharging the ley lines. And yep, and that's Reese, since Reese was sent. I wanted to ask you this, Christina, because I kind of got confused. I was curious to think, do you think what they were saying is that every time the ley lines got charged, a Penhallow fucking died?
I was definitely confused here too, because honestly, it had been very light on the lore, and then all of a sudden she's dumping it in one chapter, like most of it in one chapter, and it's really tough because then it's like she has her power, but also doesn't. You still have to talk to her.
And also kind of what I got confused by is like, oh, okay, so, but if the Penhallows know this was going to happen, did Simon send Reese because he wanted him to die for his two other sons?
Oh, shoot. Because he did. Okay, he kind of, there was like a little hint there that he might have known what was happening, because I think earlier in the book when she mentioned like her family or something, Simon's eyes widened, or like his eyebrows raised in a way where it sounded like maybe he kind of knew what was up. I don't know if he was purposely trying to kill Reese, but I didn't think about that, but now I'm like, he might have known, because it sounded like he might have known.
Aaron, we have questions. I'd love to talk to you and ask you these questions. I truly would. Aaron, I'd love to ask you these questions. Or because what I assumed by the end of the book, and by this point, is like, well, maybe it's like the double curse is like what is going to kill Reese. Anyway, so it's revealed that if the curse is not lifted off of Reese by midnight of Halloween, which is tomorrow, because of course it is, he will die.
It's so traumatic.
It's so dramatic. I'm like, whoa. We would, like I said, 0 to 60, guys. 0 to 60. But yeah, I got a little confused by that point, because I was like, I don't know if they, because it does say every 25 years, so like it would make sense, like, just not tell people. Maybe that's why he had 3 sons, so he knew he could kill one of them and still have a spare.
Kill the spare. No, I'm looking through right now, and it is mentioned that it was a blood curse, and so it was strengthened. And it's like, you called her forth with your curse, and she gave you power because you're her blood. That is what Piper is saying to Vivi. And Elaine asks, blood curse. I didn't even think of that. Gwen asks, is that bad? And they're asking, how do we lift it? And they're like, you can't. So it's kind of like, I think it's like a doubling up on the curse situation where she like, the power was amplified through Vivi.
Oh, and maybe the reason they don't stay there is because of that curse. Like maybe their magic isn't as good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Again, Aaron, I would really love to ask you these questions. Did Simon know he was sending his son to his death? Because if he did, daddy issues increased by like 20.
We gotta know, because I was thinking this whole book, I was like, oh, everything's pretty surface level. And then you get to the end and I was like, wait, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't. But yeah, so after we realize like everything that's gonna happen, Alwyn is the only one who can lift the curse, because the night that Gwen and Vivian cursed Rhys, specifically Vivian, Alwyn basically gave Vivian some of her power. How? I'm not 100% sure. I think it was just because like they were in the area, blood curse, blah. So yeah, we got a lot of lore in that one little chapter, and it enriches the story like quite a bit and like changes things from a cute little rom-com about witches and hexes to like a life or death situation. Which wasn't expecting. Don't hate it though. I'll be real. Don't hate like the little tone shift.
It felt very like it felt like Disney Channel shift, where it's like, oh, the movie was fun, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're serious now. Someone might die.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't hate it, because usually like I did need like a little bit more because at this point I did want a little more tension or like something to like be more of a reason for things to be going wrong, because everything felt a little too perfect at this point and things going a little too well, They
were cutesy problems they were dealing with. This was a real problem now.
Yeah, so I liked that we got a little more serious, just like a tiny bit more. It truly was just like a little sprinkling. Because, of course, guys, as you know, this happens with every romance book because it follows the pattern. This causes what we like to call in the Raunchy Power Hour the third act breakup. I love that I say we call it that, but it's a very common thing that is called. And it's not even really a breakup. It's more like space that they decide to put in between each other. Because Vivi is upset that, Rhys could die because she placed an additional curse on him and all of that. And Rhys is acting like Rhys. He is making jokes about it. He is trying to like lighten the mood. And Vivi's like, dude, you're gonna die. And he's like, oh well. And Vivi doesn't recognize that is his defense mechanism. And Rhys doesn't recognize that her being concerned for him dying isn't her saying that she doesn't believe in him, which again leads back to daddy issues. So Vivi walks him home, and then she decides to go back to the house by herself. And she is just like scared for him, and she and Gwen have a little moment where they talk about like her feelings towards Rhys, and this is the first time Vivian like basically says like in her own mind that she loves Rhys and she doesn't want him to die because she's fallen in love with him again. And I'm like, oh, I know what's gonna happen here. It's the Miss Kuna, my favorite of all the tropes. I'm rolling my eyes at that, guys. So
I can hear your eyes rolling.
You should. You can probably also see them. I hate this trope so much, but it comes with the genre. So Gwen is also sad because apparently her and the mayor broke up or something. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to that. I was like, oh, okay. Everyone's just sad and
side
heartbroken.
plot. But I will say with that, I was confused. I have this marked here. Gwen's go-to comfort drink is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, it's a gross hot tea that Gwen had always loved. A mix of truly obscene amounts of sugar, black tea, a bunch of spices, and orange-flavored Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I have questions.
I have so many questions. It's a heartbreak drink, apparently. I'm all for a really sugary tea, but like adding Kool-Aid in on top of that, ooh.
That's a lot. That's a lot. She's going through it.
Yeah. So next morning, Reese wakes up and he's like, "Oh, she doesn't believe in me. She doesn't believe that we can break this curse. Da 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 da. But I love her." And anyway, he gets a random phone call from his, fuck off brother who's been in the middle of nowhere with his goats and a beard, Bowen.
Beard.
Who's like, "Hey, beard." And he's like, "Wells told me that you got in some trouble and that a coven cursed you and like, what's going on?" And Reese tells him everything, including Vivian, like leaving and crying. And Bowen's like, "Dude, get your head out of your ass. Just go tell the girl you love her." And Reese is like, yeah, we'll do that. So he marches on down to Aunt Elaine's, and Aunt Elaine greets him with Sir Percival, who's learned a couple more words now, including dickhead.
Oh, it's so good that he calls him dickbag, because it's like that's the first thing he hears when he opens the door.
Yeah, it's just dickbag. I'm also trying to imagine what Sir Percival sounds like, and for some reason, I just think it would be really funny. It was like just a deep voice, just going, "Treats."
That's what I was thinking too. He totally had a deep voice in my mind.
Yeah. Dickbag. Anyway. Aunt Elaine is holding the cat, and he's like, "I need to talk to Vivian." And she's like, "Because you want to tell her that you love her?" And he goes, "Yeah." And Aunt Elaine is such a cockblock, because Aunt Elaine is like, "She's preparing for the spell tonight, Reese. You can't like mess up that concentration." And I'm like, fuck off.
I can't believe she did that, because like
I don't know why she would do that.
Like stressed out. Why would she do that? Like, I feel like this might have helped the situation actually, because Vivian's stressed out about that, like specifically.
Yeah, about that as well. I don't know. It was a little odd, but I was like, okay, whatever. We're just not going to say I love you until afterwards, because that's just what happens. This would happen in One Last Stop as well. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Anyway, now we go to Vivian, and she's taking another bath, but it's not like the one at the beginning of the book. She's just soaking and reminiscing, and then she decides to put on her badass polka dot dress because it makes her feel confident and good. And she's like, "Now I'm gonna go summon my ancestor." And I'm gonna go tell Reese later that I love him. So they get to the cemetery where Alwyn is buried, and they all meet there. They're all in like cloaks. They're in classic witch shit, guys. And they begin the ritual, and Vivian goes to she has to like cut her palm and then put it on the ground to help summon Alwyn. And then Alwyn possesses our girl Vivian. It takes over her body. And the reason they're able to do this is because, of course, Hallows Eve, Halloween, is, you know, the night in which magic is most powerful, because, of course, it is. Classic spooky Halloween shit. And Alwyn is like, like, you're a pen hallow, you look just like your great grandpappy, and I bet you're as like shallow and all of this. And he goes, "No, like, I don't want this like town to be destroyed by this curse. Like, people really care about it." And she's like, "Why should I help you?" And he goes, "Because I love your great granddaughter." And she's like, "I can feel her heart beat for you as well. I will help you." But then it turns out Alwyn can't do anything because the curse is too strong. And she then fades back into the ground and unpossesses Vivian's body.
Which, honestly, this whole situation, kind of insane.
Kind of crazy.
Like, you spent all that time, and then she's like, I do believe you love her, but I can't help. Bye.
I can't do anything. Bye-bye. Bye now.
Like, no, what? Kind of crazy.
There she goes. So Vivian wakes up and she's like, did it work? And they're all like, you did such good magic, sweetheart. You did it great. And she's like, it didn't fucking work. And they're like, it didn't fucking work. So Reese is still going to die. And Vivian's like, oh God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like, how do we get the curse out of the ley lines and out of the town? And as soon as she said, like, oh, how are we going to get it out of the ley lines in the town? I knew exactly what was going to happen. And exactly what happened, it did. Is Vivian comes up with a plan, and she goes, well, we need to overcharge the ley lines, and the only way to do that is like to do a pen hollow. But wait, the Joneses also powered the ley lines when they were created with Alwyn. And she goes, come on, Aunt Elaine and Gwen, and we're all gonna go to the ley lines. And so they get up there, they get into the horny cave, which doesn't make horny this time, guys. Don't worry, they don't get horny for each other. It's not that type of Southern romance book. And
I kind of, not gonna lie, I kind of thought this situation was gonna get all like very, I don't know, like in ACOTAR this kind of happens.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't hoping, but I was thinking, I was like, oh, in ACOTAR, like, to strengthen the magic, we have sex. And I was like, oh, it's totally going to happen here. And it didn't. The cave wasn't horny.
It didn't. The cave wasn't horny this time, guys. But they do form a circle, and with, you know, the power of love and family magic, they surge the ley lines, and it's powerful, and they clean it, and then Reese isn't going to die anymore. Yay!
Yay! Everything's all right in this cute, beautiful little spooky witchy town.
Yeah, so everything's fine now, guys. So Reese is like relieved that he's not gonna die, because and
that would be relief.
That would be relief, I think, for anybody. So as they're driving down the mountain, Vivian like has them stop on the side of the road, which is near the field where they met for the first time. It was like a summer festival where they met all those years ago. And what does Vivian do? She has goodbye sex with Reese. Because okay, I'll be honest. I'll be completely real. Hey, Aaron, this got me mad. You made me mad at this point in the book, because I thought you were going to leave us with a cliffhanger. I thought you were going to be like, they have sex and then they part ways. Tune in for the next book. Too. I was so mad. I hate this communication trope. I hate it. I hate it.
It's too close to the end of the book. It's a terrible time to do it. Like,
it's so terrible. Anyway, they both think they're both not interested in each other, and that what they had was a fling, and that it was just sex. And they're like, okay, time for you to go.
That's it. Time to wrap
up. Say goodbye. Yeah, and I was like so mad. I was like, no. Don't do this to me. It was really good up to this point, but if this ending may ruin it. It didn't. Because little time skip. It's a couple months later. It's now winter time. Vivi is coming back to work for the first time after holiday breaks. And she actually got a very sweet gift from Reese, and it was like a whole book in Welsh about Welsh history written by a witch. And she's like, oh, this is so sweet. At least he's thinking about me, but like, it's not that big of a deal. Or anything, And turns out, because of this whole ordeal, she's decided that she wanted to teach some witchy classes and some history on the town and all of that. So she's now a professor on the witch side as well as the normal side. And as she's walking down the hallway towards her class, she stops because she sees an unfamiliar name on one of the on the doors of the professor doors. R. Penhollow. And she's like, it can't be. It can be, because it is Reese. Reese has decided to come live in Georgia and make a commitment to Vivian, and because he was miserable without her. And, having a college named after your family does have its benefits. So he is now a professor And this is where we get a cute little confession of him saying, I love you. I want to be here with you. I want to try this. I don't want to like this isn't just a fling for me. And it's the same thing for Vivian. Vivian feels the same. She tells him that she loves him. And then our book ends on a cute little note with the final line being, and that, Vivi had to admit, as Reese leaned in to kiss her, might be the most magical thing of all.
It was cute.
I was kicking my little feet.
Cute because he didn't like whales anyways that much. Like, he wants to go back and visit, but like, he didn't like it that much.
No. Plus, he could do a job from wherever. By the way, we never explained it. Reese is a travel agent, by the way, guys. He has his own travel business. We never said that, but he does.
And out of all the things, like, that's such like a bachelor or like bachelorette, like someone on the show would be like, I'm a travel agent. I'm like, yeah, I believe that. And like Reese is that.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I can do it anywhere. I want to be serious, which means I get a professor job at a university to be with you.
We love a work from home, work remote king.
Honestly. But yeah, that is the end of Hex Hex by Erin Sterling. That's it. Ashlyn, do you have questions for us?
You ask me that every time. My answer has only been no once.
Yeah, but because of that no, I got scared, and now I have to ask every time.
I understand. We should work on our communication. That would help.
Please. I'm so anxious. I want to know. I want to have questions at the end of every episode.
I'll work on it.
Thank you, baby.
Do you think that Reese and Vivian will stay together after the end of this book?
I hope so.
I think so. He moved.
He moved all the way to Georgia. Whenever he has to fly internationally, he has to go to Georgia. That is a commitment. He has to fly out of Atlanta. That is a commitment.
He has committed to do that. And like the fact that he's like teaching, he has a job there.
Yeah. Also, they have like fantastic like chemistry between the two of them, like physically and emotionally, that I think I would love to see them grow more as characters. And like he learns like how she's like, I do believe in you. It's not that I don't believe in you. It's just I'm concerned for you, and him like opening up more and not making a joke of things as much,
I do think they had 9 years between it. And so he obviously grew up, and you had only 3 months with him before, and then you've got this 1 month of October and then a little bit of the winter. So I'm like, maybe a little more time. Time.
I would love to see more growth and see how they develop more as a couple, but I do think they would stay together.
So neither of you have read the Kiss Curse, which is the next book in the series. And as we're recording this, we are still anxiously awaiting The Wedding Witch, which is the third book in this series. What do you think happens in the second and third books?
Oh, God. Well, you did hint at us that the second book does not follow Vivian, but Gwen. And Christina and I have also guessed that either Gwen ends up with Bowen or Wells.
Gotta be a brother. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's gotta be a brother. They truly are keeping it in the family both ways.
It only makes sense. And for all the characters that we met, I think there's a reason we met them all. And I think it's to like flesh out this world later in different books. Like, like we got these like odd one-off characters. And I think it's because maybe like it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, I remember them from a book previously and we didn't get that much information, but here's your book on them now.
Yeah. I feel like it's something between Gwen and Bowen, because we barely learned anything about Bowen. So I feel like he's set up as our next male love interest because he's like got this air of mystery. Well, Wells as well. We don't know much about Wells, but I don't know how much older.
He runs an inn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we got. He ran an inn and he's stern.
And maybe he falls in love with the lady who has the inn that not
barely visited inn.
Yeah, maybe he does that. Yeah. It has to be something with the Joneses. Oh, maybe Wells is just really into older women and he dates Aunt Elaine. Honestly, I would love that.
I need an Aunt Elaine book. I know we keep saying this, but I'm going to say it again. We need an Aunt Elaine book.
I'm going to assume more magic hijinks ensue when Bowen has come to visit Rhys at Graves Glen, and he and Gwen start they're mutually attracted to each other, and then obviously by the kiss curse some kind of curse occurs. Don't know what kind, but something.
An accidental one, because what's he doing on the mountains?
Yeah, what's he doing out there? He can go to Georgia and have goats and a beard. And then the wedding witch, I assume it's a double wedding. I think it's a wedding between Bowen and Gwen and Rhys and Bivy.
A double wedding? You think they would do a double wedding?
I think they would. Bros before hoes.
I do.
Bros with their hoes.
That's it. That's the theme.
Yeah, there it is.
No, I don't know that there's a
that
double wedding. I definitely think Vivian and Rhys are getting married. There's no way.
Okay, you think, yeah, because they've been together the longest.
They would be the longest to have a wedding. Unless Gwen's pretty wild.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As we've now established, we all met at Auburn University. We all know how fast relationships can go and how fast someone could get married, go from dating to married.
Oh my God, is Bowen in the the witch military?
He's like, gotta get married before I get deployed to fight whatever other thing is.
Because then I could maybe believe it.
Maybe.
Are the Welsh getting deployed?
What's happening?
But it'd be specifically witches. Maybe there's a witch war we don't know about.
Yeah.
The lore drop. God. It all drops in the second book. In one chapter, you get all the lore of the witch war and how they're being drafted.
Yeah. I think that's... actually, second book. Rhys and Gwen are about to get engaged. Bowen, Wells, and their father all come to Graves. No, Simon doesn't show up, but Wells and Bowen show up, and they're there to support their brother, obviously. And then, curse ensues. Doo-doo kiss, I assume.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll have to read it.
And now I would love to hear your final thoughts and your rating out of 5.
Alrighty. Christina, would you like me to go first?
You can go first, yeah.
Okay. I will go first. So, here are my overall notes and thoughts about this book. I think Rhys and Vivian are very cute and have a very good dynamic between the two of kind of obvious / old affections and the witty banter between them. I thought was really nice. I will say also the smut is really not that bad. It is pretty good. It is pretty good. It does what it was set up to do. But I liked the amount that it wasn't too much. It was literally just the right amount. I will say the book throughout most of it felt like there weren't a ton of stakes. But I know some people would say that that is a fault of this book. But here's my argument for it. this is kind of meant to be like a cute little fall witchy rom-com romance book. I don't think all of like a ton of like heavy stakes or like a ton of like different plot things or like heaviness would have made sense in this world. So therefore I'm looking past it and I'm not seeing it as a fault because I thought it was a cute little book and I needed it at this time. So there, because it was very easy to read and I liked it. So there you go, haters. I will say a lot of the characters were cute. I just wish there weren't as many at times because it got a little lost of who was who. But honestly, like that's just like such like a nitpick. Like that's such a nitpick because the world itself and like the magic system, Gravesglen as a whole and everything, it just felt overall super cozy, very comforting, and it was a good little book, and I'm glad we read it. And I'm interested to read stuff by Aaron Sterling / Rachel Hawkins in the future. So with that, I am rating it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Ooh, 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, I'm with you on the vibes of the book were good. Like, this is a kind of book that if you're painting the scene, like, you're sitting on a really, really comfy couch. Maybe it's velvet. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's red velvet. Maybe it's not.
And if you have a hot apple cider candle going next to you and you have your little pumpkin spice latte and your Starbucks cup with all the microplastics, yeah, it's ready.
It's perfect. It's ready. Get you and your microplastics comfy on the couch with like maybe a roaring fire. You've got cozy socks on. You've got like a really soft blanket. You can hear the crackling of the fire. Maybe the candles you have going are wood wicks. I feel like that would really set the tone. Yeah, this book has good vibes. Like I could picture myself if I had a fireplace, it would be on, even when it's kind of warm here. But I would have the fireplace on. It's a fireplace book. It's cute. It's cozy. You read it pretty quickly, which is not terrible. Like, if you're looking for something cute and sweet, this is it. I will say that I did read it on the bus, and while it wasn't that spicy, I did feel like I had to, like, turn it. You know, I didn't want someone sitting next to me and, like, looking down. So it's not super crazy, but it was enough to, like, give me pause. I see those people on the bus a lot. They would totally read over my shoulder, and I don't want that. It's a medium. Don't look over my shoulder, but it's kind of okay. I don't know.
Nosy medium, guys. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I love a good Southern fantasy. I feel like it's really tough to find those, which I do wish she had a little more like Southern-y words in there, but like a cute Southern like witchy grandma, I'll take it. I love like the Appalachian vibes. Like it is witchy. The mountains are witchy. I love that. So. It was self-aware. It knew its genre. It knew its place. It wasn't supposed to be super dark like Sydney was saying. Like, it's supposed to be cute. It's supposed to be fluffy. You're gonna like it. It's nothing terrible going on. Nothing crazy happening.
No, it's not like
sweet.
It's not groundbreaking. It's not something that's gonna like shatter your worldview and how you view books. But it's something that you could fondly look back on and be like, yeah, that was a good book. That made me happy.
You could totally pick it up every October and be fine with that. Like, it's definitely like repeatable. I would recommend it to people, which is pretty big. Sometimes I read things and I'm like, I don't know if I would recommend that to someone. I would recommend this, especially if they want fall vibes. I am a romance hater.
Yeah, you are. So we've completed our trend in which we have brought on another person who also hates romance. And I'm a begrudging romance reader now because I actually enjoy the genre.
And romance is a tough genre too because a lot of times it's not taken seriously. I'm really glad that like romance is getting more of a platform. And I'm not mad that the platform brought us to the Ex Hex. And despite being like begrudgingly reading this because I was like, cutesy, I don't know. I would give it 3.5, and I would round up on Goodreads to a 4. I would round up.
There we go. Instead of rounding down, that's good. See, that's I was just going to say what differentiates a 3 and a 4 for me is 3. I was like, yeah, I read it, but I wouldn't recommend it to someone else. 4, I would recommend it to other people, But then what separates between a 4 and a 5 is, would I read it again? Like, is this a repeatable book for me? 4, I would definitely recommend this book, guys. Like, this is something cute, and I would recommend you go out and read it. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this review. Christina, thank you so much for coming back and not being horrified in what I have tried to drag you into. And
thanks for letting me out of the basement.
Of course. We'll see if you get to come up again sometime soon. Maybe Lauren gets to come up again and we can do like a little party thing. For now, I guess you can stay out of the basement, whatever. I don't know.
Yay, I love the pumpkin spice scent. Thank you.
But hey, if you liked our review of Ex Hex by Aaron Sterling, then guess what? You are in luck. We have so many other reviews of good books, bad books, and the in-between. So go check those out. And also go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Fable, and of course Goodreads, so you can go see what we thought of the books and keep up with what we're reading. Please tell us what you like about the podcast, and if you have any recommendations, we would love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will say good night to you, my little pumpkin pals.